cast iron. My grandmother cooked with it, and my mother cooked with it, but she didn't like it because it was too heavy. And a lot of people, what they did was they took them years ago and they used to bury them in the backyard so they didn't have to use them because they were too heavy. But they made Griswold. There's a bunch of different companies that make them, Lodge and Wagner and Griswold. Erie was the first one, and they formed Griswold. But they had a wedding set, and it was a number 3, a number 9, a number 3, number 6, and number 9, and that was the wedding set. So when you got married, you know, that's what they did. They didn't go to Tiffany's and buy that kind of stuff. You got a cooking set and learn how to cook. But when you cook on a cast iron, it's 350 degrees here, 350 degrees here, and the handle. So it cooks evenly, where like the aluminum pots that you buy, it always burns on the bottom and sticks. So it always, you know, stays at a regulated temperature, so it's great. But you can make a 1-pot meal in it. This year for the deer season, I'm supposed to have 4 people at my camp, and it was me and one other guy. Wound up, 2 guys canceled out, and I sent them pictures of what we made. I made a prime rib with 3 bones in it, and it fit in one of these pots and had bacon on it, and I cooked in the oven. It was outrageous. It came out. We had it for 3 days and 1 breakfast, me and my friend, but that was great. But this is like this pot here, they call it a chicken pot. So you put a whole chicken in there, and you could cook it that way. And the top, you can take the top off, and you can fry eggs in it too. So it's a dual purpose. And all of these pots, like you can find one, it could be rusted and cruddy looking, and you could put it in a solution like a pan with half vinegar and half water, and let it sit in there for probably 4 or 5 hours. You don't want to let it sit too long, and it'll anodize it, it'll turn it black, and then take it off, hose it, and then you put it in the oven. Or you can, some people put them in a wood stove, and you bake it in there and let it cook. Put oil on it, and that's how it seasons it. Like this here, it's got a lot of seasoning on it, and you could always re-season it. This one needs some more. I just brought them in different conditions, and they're very easy to clean. You just take them, and once you cook and you're done cooking, you take a thing, you scrape them all out. You could take like a Scotch-Brite, go around, and that's it. Some people use salt, paper towel, dry it out, rinse it, and then you put oil in it, heat it on the stove, wipe it down, and that's it.
Do you use soap or no?
No, it's porous. Yeah, because it's porous, and it goes in there, and you'll have the taste of it. Okay, Frank? My uncle worked at the Oakney Diner over in Islip, and when he was a kid, he started there, and he had these pans, and it had like this one here, you could see it on it, and he took it, and he wanted to impress the boss, and he scraped it all over, cleaned it, and the boss had a fit. He blew a gasket, but he didn't know, back then. The Dutch ovens.
An old decoy, repaint an old decoy, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing. The Dutch ovens, I mean, you can buy these today, and these are enameled, and they're pretty much the same way. They're a little easier to clean than that type. But you can make chili in it, and we leave it on a wood stove at the cabin, and it just cooks, and it'll sit there all day. It just cook away slow, and it's pretty nice. And you could put like this, we put a trivet on it, or I put something from a gas stove, an old one, to grate, and put it on. It brings it up a little bit higher, so it don't have that direct heat where you burn the bottom. So you can do that, but you can put them all in the oven and cook that way with them. This is for cornbread, and it looks like little ears of corn. But when you cook cornbread in it, you have to get this really hot. I mean, it's gotta be like 300, 350 degrees before you put the cornbread in it. Otherwise, you'd have a mess cleaning it out of here, it won't come out. You'd have to soak it and so. They're all, I mean, it's all old. I mean, the pots today, I mean, we went through so many newer pots and, you know, you throw them out but these, they last forever.
Built to last, that's why.
Yeah.
They're made to last, right.
I have, the Griswolds, they're collectible, and a lot of people look for them. I probably shouldn't say this here. But they're not real, they're worth like $1 each. But I have one like this. When I got my cabin, a friend of mine out in Pennsylvania, a good friend of mine, he gave me one, and it's a Griswold, and it has like a cross on the bottom, and it says Griswold in it. And he gave it to me. He said, "Here, this is for your camp." But he said, "You probably don't want to leave it there. I'll bring it home." I leave it there anyway. But he had an auction 2 years ago, and he sold off a lot of his cast iron that he has. And that pan, he said, "You know how much I got for that pan that I gave you like that?" He had 6 of them. A number, this is number 11. I said, "No, how much?" He said, $9.50. He got a piece.
$9.50, right?
Yeah, $9.50. Yeah. But that's what he got for him. So I said, "Do you want mine back?" And he says, "No, I gave it to you. It's a gift." So it's nice, but I think I gotta check Kurt because he's been there at my cabin, and I know it's still there though. But he went to an auction one time, and he's a serious collector. I mean, he's got Griswolds, he's got a Griswold stove, he's got everything. I mean, unbelievable. And he went there, and a number 13, it's bigger than this one, but that's the most desirable one. Because like I said, they threw them all away because it was heavy, and then they sold the metal for World War II, so they didn't keep them. And he bought that one, and he said, "I was shaken until I got it." He said, "I paid $1,500 for it." And when he bought the lid, it cost almost as much as the pan. He paid $1,000 for the lid from somewhere else. Yeah. I mean, I like cooking, but I don't like it.
We'll have steak next week.
I like eating.
It does taste
Yeah,
good.
bring it home. Only certain ones. There's one
I got the big Griswold.
There's one that has a spider on it. That's the one that's worth the money. It's worth like really $10,000. It's the one with the spider smaller than that.
Who knew I was in
But
bacon?
if you get a nice smooth one, I mean they work good with eggs. If you got them hot. But sometimes they don't. It depends how they are. Yeah, but
Corned beef hash.
corned beef hash they work great with too. But it's
It's cold now, but I remember, touching it as a kid.
Yeah.
My mother was good with that. You only touch it once, and you better get
That's
the
it. Yeah,
yeah.
I have like a sleeve that fits on the end. It works pretty good. But
You only have to touch it once as a kid, so.
I have another thing at home too. We're making waffles, and it's on a stand, and you put it on top of a stove, and it turns around. It's got like a round ball on the end, and it twists so you do both sides.
Oh, really?
But it's pretty cool. But it's like in the 1880s it was made, and Griswold went out of business in 1957. We went down to my daughter's, and she had a cast iron pan there, and I used it, and it was like terrible. It was a new one, but it was all like rough and everything. And so I gave her a set of good ones.
There you go.
What makes them so expensive, George, besides the fact that they're
It's
random?
just, they're collectible. Everybody, like out in Pennsylvania, like here, people don't really care about them that much. But out there, a lot of people, they still use them. And they said, like the older people said, like now people have to use iron pills and to get iron in your system. When you cooked with that, you had a little bit of iron residue that came off it, and it said it kind of regulated the iron in you. But a lot of people, like I said, out there they use them. They don't, it's not like they have them hanging up on a shed and shoot at them.
Didn't you say you had one pan your grandmother only made potatoes in?
Yeah,
She
Yeah.
cooked nothing else?
yeah,
but
just potatoes, yeah. Like my wife, she got bit by a tick, so she doesn't want anything that's cooked in this pan, so I cook everything in it. And so when I cook lobsters in it, you can't have, okay. Even like when I cooked today, she said, it's bothering me, I don't know, there's something, I guess it has an effect on you, certain people.
That's fun.
Anybody have any questions?